Hello. Today we are going to make grilled octopus. And chances are you've probably never made this before. And I have to say, it is one of those things that if you can make it, if you're interested in making it, you definitely should make this recipe because it is not only delicious, but fairly easy to make. I have a 5-pound octopus here, tentacles and all. You can see this bad boy is really big. You can see all the suckers on there and everything. The one thing you want to make sure that you do, which I've already done, is remove the beak that's right here. All you have to do is just push it out. It'll come right out. It's no big deal. But we've got our 5-pound octopus. You can have this recipe if you have a smaller one, so it's no big deal, but you're going to use about 10 allspice berries, about 6 cloves of garlic, 4 bay leaves, and about a tablespoon of thyme. And those are the aromatics that we're going to put in to actually boil our octopus. And then once that's done, we're going to put in half a cup of balsamic vinegar. So you'll see I have vinegar in 2 places here. The marinade for after we have boiled this and grilled it consists of a cup of olive oil, a cup of balsamic vinegar, a tablespoon of capers, that adds a nice little bit of saltiness, 2 teaspoons of thyme. Where's my thyme? Here's my thyme. 2 teaspoons of thyme, 1 tablespoon of Mediterranean oregano, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, about 2 cloves of garlic, and about 2 tablespoons of parsley. And we season that marinade with salt and pepper. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to set up our octopus to boil and get it nice and tender. All right, so we put our octopus in a large enough pot so that we can fit it, first of all, but we need to ultimately cover this with water. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the water in, just enough to cover, because we're going to boil this. Always good to have some extra water on hand. There we go. We're going to put in 10 allspice berries. I'm not actually counting, but you want to get enough. This is really fragrant, so it might be a few more in there. We're going to put in about a tablespoon of thyme, probably a little bit more there, but again, no big deal. It's going to add flavor. About 6 to 7 cloves of garlic, depending on the size, and about 4 bay leaves. All right, so I have 5. So you're going to want to bring this up to a boil and then down to a simmer. I'm going to turn on the fan. Up to a boil, down to a simmer until, now the water is still soft. The skirt, okay? This is the skirt here, in between. Until you can pierce that with a knife and it's just tender, okay? So that's how you're going to know this is ready. It's going to take about 30 to 40 minutes once it has come to a boil. So you want to keep an eye on it. You can cover it, but you want to make sure you keep an eye that it doesn't overflow. So we're going to leave this alone for another 30 to 40 minutes once it has come to a boil. All right, let's make our marinade because we have time. Everything's cooking right now. So we're just going to go ahead and put in all of our aromatics. I'm just going to get a measuring spoon, 1 tablespoon measuring spoon. We've got our salt and pepper. We've got everything here. So I'm going to put in a tablespoon of oregano. It's okay if you go overboard. No one's going to complain. I'm going to put just about the same amount, about 2 teaspoons, so about half of this in of thyme. And this is the marinade that's, once everything's cooled, we're going to put this in. We're going to move off our capers for just a second. Let's move this. Let's bring this here. And we're going to get our garlic in here. A lot of garlic to press. So we've got about, 2 or 3 good-sized cloves, but I have some small ones. So we're going to do a few more than that. Just get that in here. And I also love garlic, so there's that. There'll be a little bit extra for my taste buds. All right, I'm going to use the back of my knife just to get that off. You could use your finger too, but garlic is kind of sticky. So we've got that. Clean this off. All right, and we need about 3 tablespoons of lemon. So first, you're going to roll your lemon to break up some of the fibers in between the membrane. I'm going to pick out some of the seeds. That might take too long, so sometimes I'll just let the seeds fall in and then I pick them out afterwards before I put the rest of the the olive oil and the balsamic in there. But some of these are just right there on top, aren't they? Here's another one. There we go. I'll move that over. I'm probably going to use the juice of this whole lemon. And then the rest of the lemon will go down the garbage disposal to refresh that. Just a couple more. There we go. They're really hanging on today. All right. Move that over. Put that right in here. And you see I got a few more seeds. That's why I like my reamer. It just gets them right out. Right. And then we'll use the other one. A couple more seeds here. Okay, our octopus has come to a boil quite spectacularly. So I'm just going to reduce that down to a simmer now. So I just did that. We're going to let it go for 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so I got a couple of seeds in here. Get those out. Yeah, I'm using my fingers. They're easy to get to. Not a big deal. Oh, there's more than I thought. This thing was prolific in its seeds. Look at that. Normally I would use a little fork to do this. But my hands are clean, so I'm not worrying about that. Couple more. There we go. Seedless. Love it. Okay. So we've got that done. Now we're going to go ahead and chop up our parsley. Just going to cover the octopus right now. All right. So we'll move this off to the side. Move our seeds off to the side. Look how many seeds this thing had. It's a lot of seeds. I really wanted to procreate. Okay. So as far as the parsley goes, we need like 2 tablespoons. I like to put a little extra. I like this to be really green. My parsley is cleaned and dried. So we're just gonna do some big chops. And gather it up. Big chops. Keep it rustic. Just cut it just a bit more. There we go. Two more passes. There we go. You notice I keep turning it as I do it, so it's not always hitting the same spots. Use your knife to do some of that work for you. All right, last pass. All right, well, that goes right into our bowl. And then last but not least, we're going to get some of these capers out. So the capers are in a liquid. So we're just going to pour some of that out here and get some of these capers on our cutting board. They're going to add a nice bit of saltiness to our marinade. And then I'll save this. I'm not going to, there we go, right back into the jar. And save all of that. Capers are berries. And in order to actually pick these, it all has to be done by hand, which is why you also get such a small jar. They pack a great big punch of salty flavor. So we're going to cut these up similar to what we just did with the parsley. We want them, you know, as fine as you can get it. All right, so do a couple more passes on that. All right. There we go. All right, so we just scoop that up, put it into our bowl. And here's where you want to move things out of your way. I have my bowl sitting on a towel. Okay. I'm going to put my balsamic in. That's 1 cup of balsamic vinegar. And I'm going to just combine that. Love that smell. All right, and now we're going to slowly drizzle in the olive oil. And this will emulsify somewhat. It's going to take some time. You might need a little more olive oil, but this is just like a crude vinaigrette, if you will, for this marinade. I'm just going to keep going until all the olive oil is done. And then we'll add a little bit of salt and pepper. And what I like to do is once I've gotten the octopus in here, because it's fully cooked, I'll cut a little piece off after it's been marinating a little bit. And I'll decide if I need to put some more salt and pepper on there. Because remember, you can always add, you can't take it out. All right. Just a little bit more. Your forearm's going to get a good workout here. It's okay. It's worth it. It's always worth it in the end. Good food always is. There's our olive oil. Okay, so we have our marinade now. And now all we have to do is wait. We're literally going to wait for our octopus to finish cooking. So remember, that octopus is cooking for about 30 to 40 minutes, or until a knife poked into the skirt goes in easily. All right, it's been 30 minutes. You can see the steam coming up there. And here we have our octopus. You see it went from that gray color to this beautiful burgundy color. And I can just tell by feeling it right now, it's ready. But we're going to double check it literally with a knife. And it just should gently, I'm not even pushing on it. It should just go right in. And it does. No pushing, nothing. So I'm going to turn this off. Oops. Wrong thing. I'm going to turn this off. We're going to take it off the heat, but first I'm going to add in that ½ cup of vinegar, the balsamic vinegar, and we're literally going to just let this cool on the stove, which is why I'm going to move it off of where it was cooking so that it'll cool. Once that's cool, we're going to cut it into about 4 pieces so that we can put it into a bowl for it to marinate. And then we're going to put it on the grill to get some nice char marks on it. So a little bit of time left here because you can see all of that heat coming off of this. It's going to take a little bit of time for this to cool off. Now I have taken my octopus, I allowed it to cool. And because it was rather late, I didn't actually cook it that day. So I'm actually cooking it the next day. So I put it in the fridge, and you'll see that there's some gelatin on there. That's all going to cook off. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's just some of the cooking liquid that gelatinized. But what we want to do now is cut this into certain number of pieces depending on the size of the actual octopus, so that when we put it on the grill, all the parts will get charred, or we'll be able to get some char. But it's also a little unwieldy right now to just drop this onto on a grill. So here's the head right here. So I'm actually going to cut the head off. And I'm going to cook the head on its own. And then when it comes time to serving, I'll actually cut it into smaller pieces. So I'm actually going to cut this. You'll see I've got 2 legs on this side. Cut it right here, down the middle. And then I'm going to cut this way. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So we're going to take this and put it on the grill. And because it's now in 4 pieces, it's going to be much more manageable. So it's time to make sure our grill is ready to receive our octopus. Okay, so we have a little Smoky Joe Weber grill, and we're going to grill our octopus. Remember, we cut that into pieces. We want to make sure that your coals are nice and hot. You can do this on a gas grill, but the coals actually give you better flavor. So I'm going to use my glove because this gets hot. And it's looking good. So Let's get each piece on here. Yes, we like that sound. Try and make sure the tentacles aren't all the way in the coals if you can help it. Remember, we cut it into 4 pieces to make it easy for us to grill. And the head. So we're going to cover this up. And we're going to turn it every so often just so that we get chars all over the place. Back on our octopus. Oh, I can even smell it. It smells really good. The chickens even thinks that this is good. See all that wonderful charring that we've got going on there? That's what I'm looking for. Got a little stickage there. It's a little cold on that side. Remember, this is fully cooked, so we don't want to dry it out by overcooking it. We also want to make sure it's not sticking to our grill, which has happened here. But that's what we're looking for, is some of these grilled bits. So it's not going to be much longer now. Just flip it over. Let that piece cook right there. We're going to leave it here for just another few minutes. Remember, just you have to look at your grill and see how that's working out. So we're going to leave it here for another few minutes and let that cook. This is popping. I love it. All right, here we go. Grill. So we'll always start with the thing you put down first. And you see I did have a little bit of it sticking. It's okay. Next time I'll grease up the grill a little bit more. I don't think I greased it up enough. But like I said, this is fully cooked already, as we know. Some nice char all over the place. Even on the head. It's looking good. All right, so we'll let some of this burn off. And we'll use our grill brush to clean it. If I can get a couple pieces off, why not? Nope, not happening. Right. So we're going to take this inside and we're going to cut it up, put it with marinade, and serve it. Get ready to eat some good stuff. Right, so we have our octopus back in the house. We're going to take one piece, and it depends on the size. Like, I like to leave these little tentacles long, but then we're going to cut up the rest. So everybody gets different parts and pieces, right? And then I just cut these up into bite-sized pieces. Some pieces are going to be a little bit bigger than others, and that's okay. All right, so you get all your pieces, put them on your plate. You can be very generous with this. That's a big portion. But here is where we actually put on the marinade. So I'm going to add my marinade. I've got a ladle. And I'm just going to be very generous with this because you can see all of that goodness is going to be absorbed a bit, but you can also take your crusty bread and put it in here. So I know this may seem like something out of the ordinary, but it is extraordinary. And if you try it, I think you're going to say the same thing. That's delicious.